Good afternoon. Welcome to the final round of Extemporaneous debate. This is the 15th year of the event, the 15th consecutive year that we've been sponsored by Colorado College. So first and foremost, we need to show our appreciation for the thousands upon thousands of debaters that have benefited at this tournament from their support of the National Speech and Debate Association. On Wednesday morning, bright and early, 980 competitors started this event, and we've narrowed it down to the two that sit before you this afternoon. There were a whole bunch of people that got us to this particular point, starting months and months and months ago in preparation for this tournament. I want to recognize a few. First, the individuals that helped with the wording committee: Colton Gilbert from Arkansas, Alma Nicholson from Louisiana, Jaquetta Thaler, and Marna Weston from Florida. They were all instrumental helping me. By the way, I'm Greg Malice, as the chair of both the wording committee and the Extemporaneous Debate Tab Room from Louisiana, and all of us endeavored many hours to prepare the topics that hopefully the debaters enjoyed throughout the week. We also had a number of people in the tabulation staff. Given an event of this size, it was critical to rely on a large number of individuals who volunteered considerable amount of time over the last few days. Because we were in two different buildings, we had individuals that were assistant chairs, so serving as assistant Extemp debate tabulation chairs: Lori Cruz from Oklahoma and Scott Johnstone from Louisiana. Helping them in their respective buildings: Nick Brown from Arkansas, Heather Brown Cook from South Carolina, Rachel Clapper from Mississippi, Parker DeDecker from Taiwan, Pete Martin from South Carolina, Evan Price from Alabama, Maggie Wrights from Iowa, Jared Shapiro from Taiwan, Joshua Timmons from Texas, and Avis Yen from Texas. Please show them our appreciation. Assisting with judge coordination throughout the week and helping our judges instruct them, inform them, and work with them in getting them to their rounds on time: Rachel Mocklin from North Carolina and Frank Riccobono from New York. And of course, throughout the entire week at every one of these assemblies, we need to show our appreciation to all of the local hosts, the volunteers, the organizers, everyone from the Des Moines metro area and all of the schools, as well as the Iowa speech and debate community. And lastly, let's introduce the 7 judges that will hear this debate. A former policy debater at Kansas State University from Myers Park High School in North Carolina, Zach Grant. Director of the Speaking Center at Colorado College, representing the sponsor of this event, Sarah Hinkle. A 2-diamond coach and district leader in the East Kansas district from Lansing High School in Kansas, Larissa Marinal. A state champion coach in public forum debate, and he was the #2 point earner in the United States and for public forum for the 2020-2021 school year from University School in Ohio, Abraham Pake. An assistant debate coach, University of High School in Illinois, Adeline Schultz. A 2-diamond coach and a coach of multiple top 5 finishers from Rigby High School in Idaho, Brock Sundrup. And finally, a former state champion in Lincoln Douglas debate and the current coach from San Angelo Central High School in Texas, Jose Villafuerte. The 2 debaters debating in the final round: on the affirmative is code 8343, and on the negative, code 8186. The topic they received a little over an hour ago is TikTok should not be banned in the United States. Have a good debate.
All right, inventors ready? Sure hope so, because I can't see you. Ready? I affirm the resolution resolved TikTok should not be banned in the United States. I have one key definition. Congress Bill 7521 defines a ban on TikTok as removing TikTok from the app stores, making it unavailable on browsers in the United States. Crucially, the TikTok app would not be removed from the phones that it currently exists on. It would only be removed from new downloads. Contention 1, a ban is counterproductive. My opponent has the burden to prove that a ban can be enforced for a sustained period of time. If not, there's no reason to negate because my opponent has no solvency at all. There are two reasons why the ban is counterproductive. First, VPNs, data connections that allow users to circumvent bans. VPN expert Singleton explains, in 2024, if the US government restricts TikTok, the simple solution for users would be to connect to a VPN and then load up TikTok on their own devices. But VPN security is even worse than TikTok is. CI technical expert Hunt explained in 2021 that VPNs are less secure and a favorite target for attackers, and they can better enable data theft and discoverability. Second, real-world examples prove that bans failed. Take India, which banned TikTok in 2020 as a case study. From TikTok's public data, there are more than 20 million Indian posts on how to work around a ban in India. My little cousin in India is a middle schooler and he still sends me TikToks all the time. You don't need to be a tech genius to get around app bans. Contention 2, TikTok benefits society. Two sub-points here. First, small businesses, and second, freedom of speech. First is small businesses. An Oxford report in 2024 found that TikTok generated $24 billion to US GDP, and more than 7 billion businesses in the United States rely on the platform. 224,000 jobs were supported just because of small businesses' activity on TikTok in 2023, and over half of small businesses say they rely specifically on TikTok to stay competitive in the market. And two, it uniquely improves activist free speech. A 2024 analysis of TikTok activism explains that from the Black Lives Matter movement to climate change to LGBTQ plus issues, TikTok users address social issues across a broad platform. 2/3 of teenagers regularly use the platform for news, activism, and entertainment. If it's banned, they would have less visibility in the world. Thank you. Open for cross.
Why should TikTok be allowed to offer a largely unregulated shop targeting minors full of scam products and counterfeits? Why do prioritize the impacts on business instead of the impacts on the people being scammed?
Well, scams are honestly non-unique to TikTok. If I Google any kind of product shop, I'm going to get filled with billions of ads for scam products. It's ultimately up to people to ensure that they don't get scammed.
Okay, well, considering that TikTok offers an unregulated shop in which scams are incredibly prolific, why can we not?
If we want to ban all unregulated shops, we probably have to ban eBay too.
Okay, but considering that TikTok shop also specifically targets the minors who are largely present on that app, why is that a net positive?
The TikTok shop itself is not a net positive, but if you're arguing that the Bright Line is a shop that targets minors, by that logic, the fault is with people who give their kids their credit cards, right? That's not a unique problem to TikTok. Why are you letting your kid have a credit card and go into TikTok shop and buy whatever they want?
Are my judges ready? All right. When you open TikTok, you are the product. Your data is what is being sold. Thus, I stand opposing the issue of today's debate. Supporting my stance is contention 1, national security. TikTok poses a unique threat to national security. Dr. Craig Albert, in March of 2024, explains that TikTok, quote, presents significant cybersecurity concerns for the U.S. due to the exploitation of its vast user base and the Chinese company's access to user data, end quote. China is deemed by most security scholars as the most likely threat for great power war with the U.S. TikTok, quote, knows everything about its users, from what your children look like, to what time they are dropped off at school, to what you would like to eat, where you like to eat, clothes you buy, activities you enjoy, and your emotional, psychological state of being, end quote. We secure the impact of national security in times of crisis. Albert noted that, quote, imagine the U.S. gets into a conflict with China, and they have this data on 180 million Americans. The comparative advantage this would provide the CCP to use against American citizens is unmatched. unmatchable, end quote. With that said, I offer contention to disinformation. TikTok is a unique vector of misinformation that contributes to a less informed, more polarized public. The Capital Technology University writes in 2023 that TikTok provides the ideal platform for misinformation. A 2022 report found that roughly a fifth of TikTok videos contain dangerous misinformation. TikTok's design, where future content is driven by past interactions with similar content, contributes to the rapid spread of misinformation. In 2020, a video falsely claimed that consuming garlic could prevent COVID-19, leading to widespread sharing. Another claimed that COVID-19 vaccines were magnetic. TikTok is poorly moderated, and its very design rewards polarizing content that degrades democracy by sorting teenagers into partisan camps. Christian Paz writes in 2024 that participation in politics is not the sole metric for a healthy civil body. Just as apathy endangers democracy, so do rival camps of hyper-partisanship. Thus, I negate.
All right, ready for Gus?
Yeah, whenever you are.
Okay, let's start on your contention one about national security. If TikTok knows where I want to get my breakfast every morning, how does that help them in a war?
Because that is not the only thing that TikTok knows. The point being made is that information about the demographics of the United States
Regardless of what they
is
know
important to the CCP in order to target those demographics with cyber attacks.
Regardless of what they know about all teenagers across America, how does this help them in a war against America? They're not fighting the teenagers.
Because, again, it's important to note that this is about cyber attacks. In order to effectively carry out cyber attacks, you have to know information about the user base you are targeting. In fact, knowing about what they like can enhance the effectiveness of these cyber attacks because you can misinform them.
Okay, on contention to misinformation, where do you see more COVID misinformation, TikTok or Facebook?
Well, first of all, COVID misinformation specifically targeted towards endangered groups.
I saw ads
young
for
people is more prevalent on TikTok. I'm not saying that Facebook is inherently good. I'm saying TikTok
I think there's
is
way more
inherently
COVID
bad.
misinformation on Facebook than TikTok. All right, 1 minute prep. Starting. No?
Okay, yeah, you can start it.
All right, I can't see the judges, so if you guys are not ready, just say something. Okay. All right. Let's start with their contention on data sale and national security. There's one really big response here. They have the ability to prove that how TikTok having access to our data actually hurts America in a war situation specifically. That's the link they made. And honestly, I think this is pretty ridiculous because regardless of how much TikTok knows about American teenagers, that isn't going to serve them against in a war in the military. No one's posting blueprints or America's nuclear codes on TikTok. Regardless of how much information access they have on America's teenagers, this isn't going to help them in a war. Honestly, they tell you that cyber attacks are going to happen. Okay, TikTok hacks my phone, now what? They don't suddenly have access to nuclear codes. They don't have access to the President of the United States because they have access to my phone. All of these cyber attacks links just aren't unique to TikTok. Any of these cyber attacks would likely happen on US military platforms, not on TikTok users. But next, on their misinformation point. Honestly, I don't think this makes sense. Trial324 finds that banning TikTok has not solved India's disinformation problem. Instead, influencers, WhatsApp, and generative AI are the new sources of misinformation in India, which has banned TikTok already. Honestly, I think there's more information on other platforms that users would likely turn to when we ban TikTok. Specifically, if you look on Facebook, my friend's uncle posts on Facebook about horse dewormers solving COVID-19, about vaccines causing autism. All of these misinformation things are way less common on TikTok than they are on American social media platforms like Facebook. The biggest thing, most importantly though, is you have to prove not just that TikTok is bad. If things are bad, then uniquely, you have to say why TikTok is the worst of them all and somehow super compelling harm. Furthermore, on their own case, on their broader argument here is just that TikTok has bad impacts. You know, kids have credit cards, stuff like that. This all exists everywhere in the United States. Kids can buy stuff on eBay if they have their parents' cards. Kids buy V-Bucks and Fortnite if they have their parents' credit cards. None of these impacts are unique to TikTok specifically, and that's the burden that they have to prove in order to justify the infringement on free speech that banning TikTok would cause.
For the sake of American citizens being sold as products to advertisers while being intentionally misinformed for hours on TikTok, I negate. With that in mind, I reject my opponent's case. First, he tells you that a ban is counterproductive. He gives you a few ideas. First, that VPNs allow for people to get onto TikTok without just using the app. However, much fewer people will go through the task that it takes to download a VPN and use that VPN to access TikTok instead of just going over to alternative platforms such as YouTube Shorts that have much more content moderation. He tells you that they will instead go to Facebook, but no, much of the younger demographic will instead migrate to other platforms with that demographic such as YouTube Shorts. Now let's move on to the narrative that TikTok benefits society. He gives you first the argument about small businesses. However, I disagree. The way in which small businesses access TikTok is through the TikTok shop, which is net harmful to young targets. According to the Public Interest Network in December of 2023, quote, you see products for as low as 50 cents. What's available on shop is cheap products from China. TikTok shop has problems with scams, products that never arrive, and the sale of dangerous items. TikTok ultimately takes no responsibility for the products or sellers on TikTok shop. Moreover, TikTok gets out of shop fine-grained data about your shopping habits. This impact is unique to TikTok because of who is on there, young, impressionable children. And now he finally tells you that TikTok allows activism. I disagree. First of all, it will only show posts about activism to those who already agree because of its algorithm. Moreover, that creates echo chambers, where it creates hyper-partisan camps of people who all share a similar belief. Now let's clear up my own case. I first argue that TikTok is a glaring national security risk. In response, he tells you that this data does not help the CCP. I fundamentally disagree. For the impact that information about the preferences of demographics helps you target those demographics with misinformation, especially with such a good algorithm. Thus, I strongly negate. You ready to start Kaptan now?
Yep.
All right.
All right, same deal as before. Give me a holler if y'all aren't ready. Okay. Judges, the biggest thing in this round is going to be uniqueness. My opponent has to set a bright line in order for the US government to ban TikTok specifically and not any other platforms. Because with the infringement on our rights that this was posed, it's entirely unrealistic to ban one specific product just because it has negative impacts. This sounds more like an authoritarian country than it does like the United States, which they say is so much better than China. Let's start first on children buying stuff. Honestly, this is the most non-unique argument of them all, because children can buy stuff everywhere. You can buy Robux on Roblox, you can buy V-Bucks on Fortnite. Honestly, are we banning every single video game with microtransactions on this point? The responsibility is on parents to make sure their kids don't get access to their credit cards, not on TikTok, to prevent people from buying stuff at all on their TikTok shop. Any platform that targets minors that has microtransactions, you're now banning the majority of the App Store as well. Second, on data, I tell you that Facebook also sells data to China. Facebook data has data sharing partnerships with at least 4 Chinese electronics companies that have a close relationship with China's government. Again, this is non-unique. China has plenty of access to US data outside of TikTok. TikTok is not like this unique source of data into the internal workings of the United States government, of anyone who's going to be important to any kind of war-fighting effort at all. They tell you that this demographic information is importantly. Honestly, it's really not. They can tell you that my favorite store for burgers is a McDonald's, and this doesn't help China in a war situation. What will help them is hacking the government. Third, on misinformation, I tell you that this is incredibly non-unique. I gave you a card that said that in India, when they banned TikTok, misinformation just went to other platforms like WhatsApp. I get tons of WhatsApp scams, like messages telling me that all these new scam products exist. All this misinformation is so non-unique to TikTok specifically that my opponent doesn't meet their burden of strict scrutiny. That's what we have to pass in order for the government to ban a platform. Not just that it's bad, that it is so compellingly harmful that it uniquely has to be banned and not any other product.
This discussion can be broken down into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good. What good comes from banning TikTok? Quite a substantial sum. Principally, you prevent cyber attacks. The reason why any data is useful to the CCP is because in order to spread misinformation effectively, you must know who that information is targeting, what they believe, and what is likely to persuade them. If the CCP has the ability to change the minds of our population, that is a massive net harm. Not all cyber attacks that are dangerous are directed right at the Pentagon. No, they are directed at the citizens because the belief of the citizens is what is powerful. Now, let's talk about misinformation. He told you that when India banned TikTok, scams moved elsewhere. I give two responses. First, content moderation is stronger on alternative platforms. And secondly, the software on TikTok is more conducive to creating misinformation. The software CapCut allows you to merge information incredibly quickly that allows you to create deepfakes. Now, let's address the bad. First, he tells you that people will move to Facebook, which is worse. I disagree. Facebook does not cater to young demographics. Impressionable youth will move to YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels with much stronger moderation policies on their videos. The ground of the negation does not exclude other similar platforms from being bad. Instead, the negation's burden is proving that a platform with the characteristics of TikTok should be banned. Now he tells you that we will hurt small businesses. However, I tell you that the TikTok shop is bad and it's full of scams. He says you could buy things anywhere, but that takes out his own rebuttal to his own argument. If you can buy things on eBay, you can also just sell things on eBay as a small business. The reason why I secure uniqueness is because more young minds spend time on TikTok than they do scrolling on eBay. And finally, the ugly. Our future is ugly if you affirm. With that, I am proud to negate.
Good job. Good job.
Very briefly, we wanted to introduce the debaters by name. The affirmative debater, 8343, Karthi Gadapati from Palo Alto High School in California. And debater 8186 on the negative was Mason Renner from Pembroke Hill School in Missouri. Excellent debate, and we will announce the winner at tonight's award ceremony beginning at 6:30 p.m. We hope to see you there, and good luck.
Now with the 6 finalists and their coaches in extemporaneous debate presented by Colorado College, please come forward. Congratulating tonight's winners is Sarah Hinkle. Sarah is director of the Speaking Center at Colorado College. Let me tell you a little bit about Colorado College. It was established as a co-educational institution back in 1874, 2 years before Colorado actually became a state. Today, it is recognized as a top-tier liberal arts institution known for its unique one class at a time block plan, which allows for immersive learning that expands through and well beyond the Rocky Mountain West. Introducing tonight's winners is Extemp Debate Chair, Mr. Greg Malice.
Your winners in extemporaneous debate presented by Colorado College are, in 6th place, David Liu from Seven Lakes High School, Texas, coached by Bryce Priakowski and Kalen Kabler. In 5th place, Charlie Rubin from Clayton High School in Missouri, coached by Cam Zistiak. In 4th place, Anthony Wang from Mercer Island High School in Washington, coached by David Davis. In 3rd place, receiving a $250 scholarship is Avery Johnson from Columbia Hickman High School in Missouri, coached by Lou Kraxberger. Placing 2nd in extemporaneous debate, receiving a $500 scholarship is Karthi Gadapati from Palo Alto High School in California, coached by Isaac Can, Mela Levine, Yu Yuan, and Kai Hiatala. in a 4-3 decision for the negative. The champion of extemporaneous debate, receiving a $1,000 Colorado College scholarship, is Mason Renner from the Pembroke Hill School in Missouri, coached by Parker Hopkins, Jagged Williams, Alicia Stout, Kristen Stout, Graham Rivera, Eric Morris, Dalen Morris, and Bobby Phillips.